कमिंग आरपीएससी नेट सेट गेट एग्जामिनेशंस के लिए। लेकिन प्राइमरीली हम लोग जो टारगेट कर रहे हैं कि अक्टूबर में जो आरपीएससी एग्जाम होने वाला है एंड दिसंबर में इस साल के जो सेकेंड फेज का नेट एग्जामिनेशन होने वाला है, ये दो एग्जाम को टारगेट करके इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के लिए what we are doing, we are trying to relook through the important MCQ questions. Most are the PYQs of different set of examinations, basically. ये एक एग्जाम वेट का बहुत important initiative आप बोल सकते हो. It will help you, those who follow us regularly on our channel or who are there in our Telegram channel also. So it will help you finally in understanding the trend analysis for exams like RPSC and UGC NET. Okay, so start करते हैं. Question number 1. See, which of the following Shakespearean plays are in the correct chronological sequence? What are the plays given? ठीक है, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV, Part 1, Romeo Juliet, and Richard II. Okay, so Part 2 है. Okay, देखो उसके बाद डिफरेंट सीक्वेंस दिया गया है. ठीक है, करेक्ट आंसर बेसिकली डी है. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई सो. रोमियो जूलियट जो है इट वाज पब्लिश्ड इन 1595. एक चीज याद रखना है, ऐसे ट्रिक बोला करते हैं ये सब क्वेश्चन को कि आपको अगर एक इंफॉर्मेशन पता है देन ऑब्वियसली यू कैन विन द रेस. रोमियो जूलियट वाज वन ऑफ द फॉरमोस्ट ड्रामा. ठीक है, पहले का एकदम. It was a bit immature one, although it was mostly stage drama even at that moment. Okay, इतना ज्यादा कोई और दूसरा शेक्सपियरियन ड्रामा hasn't been staged. ठीक है. So Romeo and Juliet has been published first, then Richard II same year, and then Henry IV. I think मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस पहले होगा, थोड़ा गलती है इसमें भी. हेनरी फोर 1600 पार्ट 1. ठीक है, दो पार्ट में पब्लिश हुआ था. एंड देन मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस बेसिकली 1598. तो मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस पहले होगा. ये पूरा एक बार टिक कर लीजिएगा. AC Bradley's Shakespearean tragedy was published in what was the year basically? 1900, 1903, 1904, 1905, 1906. Okay, so the correct answer is B, 1904. Okay, AC Bradley. अगर आप देखोगे, Andrew Cecil Bradley is the full name. Okay, basically he was an English scholar and he has worked, invested a major time on Shakespeare. So his two major works आप देख सकते हो, Shakespearean Tragedy and Oxford Lectures on Poetry. Shakespearean Tragedy. So the work on Shakespeare was published in 1904. Okay. Ripeness in all occurs in. Okay, this is a very famous phrase. Okay, there are 4 tragedies written basically in the second stage of Shakespearean drama, that was 1600 to 1608 basically. Mostly इसमें लिखा गया था ये drama. And second stage was very interesting. That is the most fruitful, prolific stage of Shakespearean drama. Ripeness in all occurs in King Lear, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Julius Caesar. Okay, so it was occurring King Lear, Act 5, Scene 2, right? And Edgar said these lines to Gloucester. So next time question ये आ सकता है, ripeness in all, as it is a very important phrase. Who said this? In which play by Shakespeare do we find widowed queens questioning the assumption of male politics? Widowed queens questioning the assumption of male politics. Very interesting because during or in case of Shakespearean plays that you haven't found even in Shakespeare's predecessors, the university wits. What you find in the Shakespearean play is basically the women voices, even uh, in case of politics. So, to some extent, the very patriarchal understanding of the political system has been challenged by the women voices, and that is the thing which makes Shakespearean plays even more relevant today. Okay, so without going questioning the assumptions of male politics, Henry V, Richard III, Antony, Cleopatra, Hamlet. So first two are the history plays, and then you can find tragic comedy and tragedy, tragedy basically. So Richard III is the play, and Richard III was one of the Richard III. I think is the first play. Okay, when Shakespeare began his career, not the first, but one of the first play. Is written, and it is the play of his first ages, like the end of 16th century when he began his career. It is written approximately in 1592, and it's about the short reign of King Richard III of England. Okay, so to understand the history plays or chronicles, you really need to understand the British history beforehand, even before Queen Elizabeth. So you need to understand the Tudor dynasty and obviously the conflict, the 100 years of war, the plague periods, and all these things even. So definitely strategize, and through a smart preparation, I hope you can simply grasp it. The very idea of that period, which is very important also from your exam point of view. After Shakespeare, so let us focus on this question. After Shakespeare made his debut as a London playwright, he was described as an upstart crow by Robert Greene, Thomas Lodge, Christopher Marlowe, John Lilly. पता है ये जो चार ऑप्शन है इसमें similarities क्या है? Basically they all are the university wits. So some of them even helped Shakespeare begin his career. Some of them collaborated with Shakespeare, although it is speculative. But one of the university wits who were very arrogant for their university training and education, which that Shakespeare did never have. So someone actually said Shakespeare as an upstart crow. Okay, in his pamphlet. So all the university wits were the pamphleteers also. So who was that person? Robert Greene was the person. Okay. So he just published a pamphlet and said Shakespeare as a upstart crow. But what is the irony of time you seek it? All the university wits, they actually either got disappeared, one got disappeared, I'll talk about it later. Okay. Or they died at the very early ages, or they lived sort of in oblivion. Okay, at the end of the 16th century, and which created a ground certainly for Shakespeare for the next 20 years, you can say. And this is unprecedented because the predecessors, like the university wits, they're not in the picture. So obviously Shakespeare was the only boss that moment. But Shakespeare had his own genius, which was uncontested. So chronologically, let us move on to this question. Chronologically assemble Shakespeare criticism. So there are many who have criticized, many classical thinkers and obviously the modern thinkers. As you can see, Spurgeon, T.S. Eliot, Stephen Greenblatt, and Bradley. They are basically the modern thinkers and the critics. Okay, so without wasting time, let us take a look. The correct answer is B. So A.C. Bradley, Shakespearean tragedy, also, that he published this in 1904. Then T.S. Eliot, Hamlet and His Problems, very important article, 1919. Then Caroline Spurgeon, Shakespeare's Imagery, 1935, and Stephen Greenblatt on Poetics of Culture and Interpretations of Shakespeare, 1987. far later one, Greenblatt has his contribution even as a postmodernist. So he tried to look at Shakespeare from the point of view of cultural studies that developed much later in the 1980s. And as you have noticed that the book was published in 1987. Which of the Montague's essay inspired Shakespeare to draw the character of Prosperous Servant? Okay. Edward II of the Cannibals, the Spanish tragedy, the Fair Maid of the Inn. So it is a textual question. The correct answer is B. Montaigne's essay of the cannibals inspired Shakespeare to draw the character of prosperous servant cannibals in the character of Shakespeare's famous play The Tempest. So as you know, also an interesting fact that cannibals, the word can be written in two ways, and these two ways, two spellings depict two different things, also somehow merged together into referring to the cannibal, that means the man-eater, and also you could say the far-fetched lived creature, obviously, that could be found in the otherly world. Okay, the new world. So cannibal didn't show the cannibalism, but obviously the character of the cannibals that you see came out, that essay that is talking about even the very idea of imperialism that moment. And Shakespeare ventured in the third phase of his career, okay, to write the very important tragedy, The Tempest. Although it is not literally very important, I would say, but it is important in that important from the paradigm that that moment uh, the English troop, they have actually they have got the support from the queen, and obviously not the queen, the king, because James 1 or 2 has already been enthroned, and they have got the support from the royal system. So obviously the marching class, they started becoming um, explorers. They explored the world, and obviously they began to build colonies. So the Tempest somehow reverberates the very idea of colony making, right? Who is Macbeth at the beginning of the play? Than of Glamis, Than of Fife, Than of Carer, Than of Venice. Okay, what is the identity basically? So Macbeth was Than of Glamis. Which of the Shakespeare's play had the character Robin Goodfellow? Romeo and Juliet, Taming of the Shrew, As You Like It, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So remember one thing, you need to, if possible, read the best of the tragedies written by Shakespeare. Then obviously the direct questions, okay, who says this or from where the line, okay, you can simply answer the questions. And a few important comedies. Okay. And apart from that, you need to thoroughly remember the characters of quite all the plays. That is a task. The date, so the chronology, the uses of even costume in some cases, or maybe I would say the kind of verse used in the plays, or music. Not music, the song, the lyrics I'm talking about. कौन से lyrics use किया गया है. And apart from that, what you can remember actually from different plays, I would say in some cases the devices also, or maybe the literary terms. Okay. So that is how you can categorize your preparations regarding Shakespeare. And as you see कि ये वीडियो भी बेसिकली शेक्सपियर के ऊपर ही है. ठीक है, हम लोग कुछ क्वेश्चंस, जितना क्वेश्चंस हो सकते हैं शेक्सपियर के ऊपर करेंगे. इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स सिर्फ नहीं, वी आर एक्चुअली व्हेन covering the questions on important writers, we are covering important trajectories. So there are multiple approaches for English literature, right? You can follow one or you can follow two and intersperse and revise that way. So which of the Shakespeare's play had the character Robin Goodfellow? Romeo and Juliet, Taming of the Shrew, As You Like It, A Midsummer Night's Dream. The correct answer is A Midsummer Night's Dream. What you really need to remember here is known as a puck of fairy in a play. Okay. Lysander, Demetrius, Hermia, Helena, Oberon, Titania, they are also the important characters of the play. So remember, angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Okay. Who is the brightest referred by the Shakespeare in this code? Already it is mentioned कि Macbeth का है. ठीक है, Macduff, Macbeth, Lucifer and Malcolm. So the correct answer is Lucifer because it is a theological reference. Okay, and by this brightest star and obviously brightest fell, what you can understand is that Lucifer is a character who is an angel banished by God from heaven for seeking power, for wishing to usurp the authority of God. Okay, just the way you can see the infidelity in Prometheus. So there is another instance of Lucifer in Bible. Is a biblical reference, and in Marlowe's play, Faustus also wishes to achieve power and knowledge exceeding the limits given to man by God. So obviously, it is a prototype that you can see in Faustus also, Dr. Faust. Dash a comic character by William Shakespeare is found in more than one place. John Falstaff, Ariel, Claudius, and Antonio. So the correct answer is Falstaff. Okay, that is a very important character, a comic character found in different sort of comic satire like Henry IV, Part 1, Henry IV, Part 2, Merry Wives of Windsor. Okay, these two are chronicles, although there are comic timings, and Falstaff gave the comic relief and Merry Winds of Which, where Merry Winds of Which, sorry, Merry Wives of Windsor. In that drama also you can find the character. Okay. Who called Shakespeare the largest and most comprehensive soul? Dr. Johnson, Dryden, T.S. Eliot, I.A. Richards. So basically, Dryden ने बोला था essay on dramatic poetry, very important. Read the summary of it. So obviously, it will help you understand anything that will specifically be asked from essay on dramatic poetry. Called Shakespeare the largest and most comprehensive soul. In the play The Tempest, Prospero is the Duke of, okay, Milan, Kent, Edinburgh, and Naples. So basically Milan. Well, so the play was first performed in 1611 to 12 and later printed in 1623. Remember one thing, Shakespeare had always a hurry to stage the drama. So always the play used to get printed later. Okay. So character Prospero is the Duke of Milan. His brother Antonio usurps his throne. Who said about Shakespeare that he knew small Latin and less Greek? Okay. Robert Greene, Thomas Key, Dr. Samuel Johnson, Ben Jonson. Basically, Ben Jonson was the person who said this. Question number 15. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? Who says this and when? Lady Macbeth in her sleepwalking, Macbeth after murdering Duncan, Banquo's ghost at the banquet, and Macduff's wife murderer. So basically, it seems to be कि blood clean वाला जो phrase आता है वो this is very much prominent to Lady Macbeth. So Lady Macbeth is something, but it is basically said by Macbeth after murdering Duncan. It appears in Act 2, Scene 3. Okay. According to Macbeth, the chief nourisher in life's feast is. Who is chief nourisher in life's feast? Rich, diet, sleep, love, and solace offered by friends. So what Macbeth could say? Definitely it is sleep. Okay. Again, in Act 2, Scene 3. When is the title of the Throne of Cawdor bestowed on Macbeth and by whom? On the barren health by Banquo. In Inverness of Lady Macbeth following the defeat of Norway by Duncan, or during the Battle of the King's Emissary, Ross. So the correct answer is the Throne of Cawdor bestowed on Macbeth following the defeat of Norway. Okay, the title was given by King Duncan, was the King of Scotland. In the epilogue, Rosalind, before bidding farewell, makes a last appeal to Jack to be happy, his father to live in Arden, the women in the audience to like the play, and Genomate not to travel alone. Basically, women in the audience to like the play. It is again a very important instance to break the fourth wall. Okay, and it is an epilogue through which she tried to communicate it with the women audience. Who utters the word, "O cause, my pretty little cause, that thou didst know how many fathom deep I am in love in as you like it." Who utters this word? ये information तो ठीक है as you like it का है. Celia, Phoebe, Orlando, or Rosalind? Obviously Rosalind, definitely, who's the heroine. According to Jack in his monologue, all the world is a stage. So remember, it is said by Jack, question आ सकता है इससे. Okay, what is the seventh stage in the context? That is interesting. A slippered pantaloon with spectacles, second childishness and mere oblivion, a awful ballad with strange woods, a full of wise shows and modern. अगर आपको पता है then definitely you would take this. एक चीज पता है, if you have a very strong idea about the criticism of Shakespeare, then you must know that he's genius in creating literary pieces because of his childness and the way he tried to obviously communicate and construct stage that should come from the second childness, that is the old age, but still it is called the second childhood and mere oblivion. Okay, which of the following plays of Shakespeare is not a comedy? Very simple. As You Like It, Twelfth Night, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Antony and Cleopatra. Definitely Antony and Cleopatra, written in 1607 at the end of his second phase in his career, was not a comedy. Plot of the play is based on Thomas North's translations of Plutarch's Lives and follows the relationship between Cleopatra and Mark Antony. There are three plays, three tragedies, or I think so. Yeah, based upon Plutarch's play, Lives. Okay, old Roman play. Which of the following plays is a social satire dealing with the fashion and fates of the day? A Midsummer Night's Dream, Antony and Cleopatra, Love's Live Lost, none of that. So Midsummer Night Dream, Antony and Cleopatra नहीं होगा आप लोगों को, ये समझ में आ गया. Then none of the above, हमेशा इसको क्रॉस कर देना, ऐसा आंसर है तो. So Love's Live Lost, elimination से हो सकता है ये क्वेश्चन का आंसर. Love's Never Lost basically is a comedy written by William Shakespeare in early age of his dramatic career. Social satire, it is a social satire. Who exclaims in his sonnet that under his carved marble of thine own sleep, brave tragedian Shakespeare, sleep alone. Ben Jonson, Michael Drayton, John Dryden, William Bess. ऐसे क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है. So basically William Bess exclaims in this sonnet. He said that William Bess was a poet and member of the servant class who first comes to the attention of historians and students of language in 1602. So he was also a contemporary of Shakespeare. And it is a poem that is a 15 6-line stanzas entitled Sword and Buckler, or the Serving Man's Defense. Name the critic who said this of Shakespeare. Those who accuse him to have wanted learning give him the greater commendations. He was naturally, exactly, he didn't have the university education or the formal education what university had. He needed not the spectacles of books to read nature. He looked in words and found her there. I cannot say he is everywhere alike. Where he saw, I should do him injury to compare him with the greatest of mankind. Who said that? Dr. Johnson, Dryden, T.S. Eliot, as Dryden, definitely on an essay of dramatic poesy. He said that Question number 25. Which of the following Shakespearean plays is in three parts? Very simple. Question Henry 4, Richard 3, Henry 2, Henry 6. If you remember, Henry 4 मैं बोला था 2 part में है. Okay, 1, 2. And the correct answer is Henry 6. तीनों part में है. Identify the critic who posited this view. The levity of Hamlet, his repetitions of praise, his puns are not part of a deliberate of dissimulation, but a form of emotional relief. So it is basically trying to say that Hamlet's character is not only a blood and flesh character, but that is an instrument to communicate between the audiences and the dramatic content. And definitely, whenever they are required the comic relief, so Hamlet did the job. Coleridge, Bradley, Hazlitt, Charles Lamb, Eliot. So Eliot, because Eliot studied, as you know, the text Hamlet and his problems. Eliot said that. Okay. Who speaks the following line in Hamlet? Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Claudio, Hamlet, Marcellus, Polonius, Horatius. The correct answer is C. Marcellus. Okay, it is one of the most recognizable lines in the Shakespearean work. Act 1, Scene 4. Question number 28. Shakespeare's soliloquies are defined as a locution dominating the stage and the attention delivered by a speaker who is alone on the stage. See, we need to understand locution. Okay. But abhi ke liye, you need not to. Just let us try to find the answer. Although I should say it is related to speech, a speech that refers to something, kind of an action. Okay. Hamlet's soliloquy, to be or not to be, Macbeth's soliloquy, is this a dagger which I see before me? Hamlet's soliloquy, now I do it bad. Iago's soliloquy, if it were done when it's done. So see, now might I do it bad? So what clue I have given? That's basically the locution that refers to the act through a speech. So now might I do it bad? And obviously kind of act that will generate a sense of reaction from the audience. And the audience is not here the very audience you imagine in the stage, but definitely who is in front of you. In the 12th night, Malvolio reads aloud while alone. Marius forged later, he is utterly ignored by the characters and audience who would actually engage in some kind of dialogue with him. This gives rise to verbal irony, situational irony, dramatic irony, unintentional irony, situational and dramatic irony. So it is basically situational and dramatic ironies. So we need to talk about this. For the time being, just know the answer. Okay, I'll definitely talk about situational and dramatic irony. Okay, while discussing literary terms. Which one is not a fool in Shakespeare's plays? Jack from As You Like It, Trinculo from The Tempest, the Gravediggers from the Hamlet, Touchstone As You Like It, Festive from 12th Night. So the correct answer is Jack. Basically, Jack is one of the main characters in Shakespeare As You Like It. He's not the fool. He's known as the melancholy Jack. He is not a fool. A faithful lord to Duke Senior, Jack has an exaggeratedly melancholic disposition. So he cannot be a fool. He's a melancholic character. So आज के लिए इतना ही ठीक है. अगले दिन फिर we will be discussing another 30 questions. ठीक है. Shakespeare से questions का series खत्म होते ही obviously we'll follow another topic and we'll try to keep the series ongoing. We should be doing this. Okay. on a regular interval. It is a very important practice. So what my suggestion for you who are preparing for UGC NET and RPSC, there is a batch going on. Definitely you can join it. Okay, you can join the Telegram channel. You can get the information there, or definitely you can contact us and you can simply join the batch. It is a joint batch that is for UGC NET and RPSC, okay, for English literature. So you can join it. One thing you can do also, if you don't want to join this, you can study from anywhere. But my only request to you is that do study a bit harder, push yourself a bit harder. It is not an impossible goal. Okay, try to give the exam religiously, both the exam. Okay, my best wishes for you, and please stay tuned and follow us. And if you like, do subscribe. And if you subscribe, please do share with other students so that everyone can be beneficial.